Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. And here we are, December 1st. It's Bears week. We're ready for this Packers-Bears rivalry to be rekindled. And boy, oh boy, could it not be in a better situation? You've got the Bears leading the NFC North, the Packers right on their heels. You have a mouthy head coach for the Chicago Bears. You've got a very eccentric, very outgoing, very look-at-me, flashy quarterback in Caleb Williams. On the other side, you have a Matt LaFleur who doesn't like to talk to the media, doesn't like to put headlines out there. You've never heard him disrespect any other coaches, just kind of keeps it even keel, keeps everything close to the vest. You've got Jordan Love, who is a silent assassin. This dude never talks crap, never is flashy, never tries to draw attention to himself. If anything, it's always about doing community service and obviously, raising money for local law enforcement in Green Bay and awareness and this and that stuff he's doing in Bakersfield, I believe it is, California, back home, the area where he's from, trying to get the public and the police force to kind of join together and become more in unity, more unified to make the communities better. They couldn't be any more different when you talk about how this team's built, the character of each team, and where this rivalry is going to at the next level. I'm so excited to dive into it. So that's what we're going to cover today. Little Packers-Bears rivalry. We're not going to get too deep into the numbers. We're just going to talk about what this game means for both teams, essentially, right? And really, you got to start things off with Ben Johnson and what he said back in January. We're going to bring you those comments back to the surface, how Ben Johnson disrespected Matt LaFleur as soon as he got the Chicago Bears job. We're going to talk about Matt LaFleur's coaching record, Ben Johnson's coaching record. We're going to talk about where PFF has these teams ranked. We're going to talk about where the statistics have these teams ranked in the important categories of scoring offense, scoring defense, yards per play, points per or yards per play allowed, all those different things. So going to do a quick deep dive and get this rivalry week kicked off right. Before we do, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your afternoon. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on the daily. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified anytime we do hit that go live button here, which we'll do multiple times a day in most cases. I see the chat's already filling up. Appreciate everybody jumping in. We got Nick McSwain in the house, Mitchell's mommy in here, United Bates. Let's see who else we got in here. Paging Dr. Crutch. Good to see you, sir. Cannonball John. Everybody following in. Thank y'all so much for making us part of your afternoon. Let's waste no time. Let's get into it. What are we talking about here? First of all, the comments that Ben Johnson made back in January. Okay, I just grabbed this clip real quick and threw together the most important part at his introductory press conference with the Chicago Bears. This is what Ben Johnson had to say about Matt LaFleur back in January. Here we go.
Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, you're talking about two guys that are up for Coach of the Year awards as the season ends here. And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
So awkward. Is there a more punchable face than that right there? Seriously. You talk about a weak chin, and if I hear another person talk about how jacked Ben Johnson is because he took his shirt off, like the prima donna he is, matched up perfectly with his quarterback who couldn't hit a bull in the ass with a mop, I could have a higher completion percentage than Caleb Williams in the league, to be honest with you. Remember, they were going to fix the receiving core. The receiving core was going to be, oh, yeah, this is going to fix everything, and all of a sudden the completion percentage is just as bad, right? We talk about the adjusted completion percentage ranking somewhere down in the 40s, I believe it was. It was definitely the upper 30s, right? So again, Ben Johnson comes in. Notice how he mentioned Dan Campbell. By the way, how's Dan Campbell's season going? Somebody remind me. How's that going? I'm literally combing through Twitter watching Detroit Lions fans trying to decide if Dan Campbell's actually the coach of the future now. And should they move on from Jared Goff? How'd that go? Kevin O'Connell, another name that he dropped here, Ben Johnson dropped, right? Kevin O'Connell, how's that season going? Mr. Quarterback Guru. Got the quarterback of the future in J.J. McCarthy. How's that working out? Right? And then he intentionally leaves Matt LaFleur out of the conversation and then says, I've enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur basically every time I've played him, essentially is what he's saying, right? This dude right here, I love the fact that this is fodder. I love the fact that this is bulletin board material. I will say this. If the team captains on the Green Bay Packers, think of your captains. Think of your Josh Jacobs, your Xavier McKinney's, right? Your Quay Walkers, your Rashawn Gary's, your Micah Parsons, all these guys, right? That every single week we see Matt LaFleur stand at the podium to the point where the fans hate it when he does this, but you never hear him throw players under the bus. He always says, I've got to coach better. We got to have better execution, and that falls on me. He always falls on the sword for his players. These players damn well better all week long be playing that on loop in the locker room and going, are we going to have our coaches back like he's had our back? We're the youngest team in the league, and Matt LaFleur consistently has them in the playoffs and has them in the hunt and has them in every game. They've lost 3 games this year for a combined total of 9 points. Each of the 3 losses were 3-point losses. And he's always got them in a position where they can succeed. They better have his back. I'm telling you, and Matt LaFleur can't do this. Matt LaFleur can't go in the locker room and be like, all right, guys, you hear what he said about me back in January? No. Go to work, out-scheme his ass, and your players better show up to play. Your players better get your coaches back. That's what better happen this week. Because this little twerp right here thinks he's running the North. He's got another thing coming. I'm telling you right now, I would put this roster up over Chicago's any day of the week and twice on Sunday. We've watched them win trash game after trash game after trash game every single week. And then hear the mainstream media talk about Caleb Williams like he's this true franchise quarterback. What numbers are you hanging that hat on? If they don't rip that ball out of Jalen Hurts' hand last week, what ends up happening to that game, right? They are lucking up on taking the ball away. And listen, there's skill involved there, don't get me wrong. And I've tipped my cap to them all the way through the season at this point, going, they're figuring out ways to win games. And the reality is Ben Johnson is a good head coach. He's looking like he's going to be a very good head coach. But those comments right there, hopefully this team puts them in their place. I want to give a shout out to Wendell Ferreira over on X. You guys can follow him at Wendell, WENDELLFP. Okay, give him a follow over on X. He wrote an awesome article. I think it was earlier today, or maybe it was last night. Actually, it was this morning at 7 a.m. So make sure you guys go give this a click and go give this a view. Matt LaFleur has a golden opportunity to finally answer Bears head coach Ben Johnson after his disrespectful message. Let's dive into it here real quick. We'll try to give you the gist of this article. The Green Bay Packers have won their 3 divisional games this season, which included sweeping the Detroit Lions for the first time since 2020. But now things are getting more and more interesting as the Packers face the Chicago Bears twice over the next 3 weeks. Even though the Packers have won 10 of their last 11 games against the Chicago Bears, I repeat, we've won 10 of our last 11 games against the Chicago Bears. And the one Bears win came in a meaningless Week 18 game last season with Malik Willis playing the majority of the matchup. These 2 NFL games will certainly feel different. Under new head coach Ben Johnson, the Bears have been much more competent, and that's why they are fighting for the division. Moving along here, but everything started with a shot at Matt LaFleur. Right after being hired, Johnson sent a not-so-subtle jab at the Packers head coach. Quote, I'm going to be quite frank with you, Johnson said back in January. I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. That was a reference to the Lions sweeping the Packers last year when Johnson was their offensive coordinator. Notice how he didn't say, we really enjoyed sweeping. It was like he was the only one that had anything to do with it. I'm telling you, this guy right here, it's coming. His time's coming. Matt LaFleur was classy in responding to this at the time, saying that he understood what Ben Johnson did, trying to motivate Bears fans entering a new era. Quote, I'm sure he's playing to their fans a little bit, LaFleur said. It is what it is. I'm not going to lose much sleep because of that. Later, Matt LaFleur said he doesn't know Johnson very well, which made the jab feel a little over the top. So some people were like, oh, well, they're probably friends. They've probably been coaching together and this and no. Matt LaFleur don't even know who the hell he is. They don't, other than he knows he's a coach. That's it. So the fact that Ben Johnson took that jab makes it even weirder, which explains his antics, how he acts all kind of creepy anyway in the pressers. Quote, I don't know Ben Johnson. Do I have beef? I don't know Ben Johnson. I respect him as a football coach. He did a nice job, LaFleur said. It's not tight. It's not tight. I'm not tight. I thought it was interesting. I thought the press conference was interesting, but I don't have beef with them. On Sunday, the Packers and the Bears will face off for the first time this season. Later, the teams get back to playing against each other on a Saturday in Week 16, and those two games will be huge for the outcome of the NFC North. That's enough to motivate LaFleur and the Packers, but the extra bulletin board material may help to add some fuel to the fire in a big week. So again, shout out to Wendell Ferreira. Great article there. Make sure you guys go give him a follow on X and give that link a click there as well. All right. So again, why does Ben Johnson all of a sudden think he has the right to talk crap to Matt LaFleur, right? And look at this, guys. We're going to go back to it every time, right? Look where Matt LaFleur ranks all time here in winning percentage amongst head coaches in the history of the National Football League. Guy Chamberlain won at 784. John Madden, number 2 at 759. Vince Lombardi, number 3 at 738. George Allen, 712. He's in the 4 spot. Nick Sirianni, 700. He's in the 5 spot. Tommy Hewitt, 694. He's in the 6th spot. Blanton Collier, 691. Ray Flaherty, 684. Jim Harbaugh, 683. George Papa Bear Hallis at 682. Then Don Shula at 677. In the number 12 spot, ahead of Hall of Famers Paul Brown, Tony Dungy, future Hall of Famer Andy Reid, Hall of Famer Patty Driscoll, Hall of Famer Curly Lambeau, right? Sean Payton, Mr. Golden Show. Everybody loves Sean Payton, right? He's in the 24th spot. Matt LaFleur is 12th all time in winning percentage. And you're going to have a first-year head coach come in and talk trash? Nah. These players better have his back. So, again, how do these teams rank? That's what you got to ask yourself, right? How do these teams rank in terms of the important statistic, the important analytics, just on the surface, right? Let's go to scoring offense. I won't put it on the screen, but I'll read it off to you. Points per play on the season, okay? Green Bay ranks 10th. Chicago ranks 11th, right? Couldn't get any closer in terms of for the 2025 season. However, when you sort it over the last 3 games, Green Bay ranks 5th in the league at 0.402 points per play. Chicago lands in the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17th spot. What's that tell you? Over the last 3 games, they're trending down in points per play, all right, in offensive scoring. Let's go to scoring defense. Actually, let's stay on offense. I apologize. Let's go to total offense, yards per play, because this shows you how efficient a team is, right? Moving the football. They may be struggling in the red zone, but how are they moving the football? Yards per play, okay? Chicago is 9th on the year, and Green Bay is tied with them in that number 9 spot, both at 5.6 yards per play. Let's go over the last 3 games. Over the last 3 games, who is playing better at the moment? Green Bay is somewhere around the 1, 2, 3. They're actually tied for the, let's see here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, roughly the 14th spot, 13 or 14, right? Chicago is currently sitting in yards per play behind them with 4.9 yards per play, and that is over the last 3 games. That puts them somewhere around, I don't know, the 20 spot. So what's the moral of the story here? On the season, it looks like Chicago and Green Bay's neck and neck. Over the last 3 games, our offense is ascending. Theirs is starting to taper back a little bit. Let's jump over to defense real quick. Scoring defense, opponent points per play. On the year, Green Bay's opponent points per play allowed, all right, scoring defense. Green Bay is 5th in the league at 0.310. Chicago, 27th. Now, let's go over the last 3 games because their defense has been playing better, right? Over the last 3 games, Green Bay is sitting in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th spot at 0.289. Better than the entirety of their season. However, they've dropped in the rankings a little bit, not at 0.289 points per play allowed. Whereas Chicago, they are another 10 spots below them at 0.345 points per play. So of the last 3 games, Green Bay's playing better offense. They're moving the ball more efficiently than Chicago. They're scoring more points, significantly more points than Chicago in terms of points per play. They're allowing less points per play on defense. And now let's jump over to yardage. And let's go total defense, opponent yards per play. On the season, Green Bay is tied for 4th best at only 4.7 yards per play allowed. On the season, Chicago is 30th at 6.1. When you go over the last 3 games here recently, Green Bay is somewhere around the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, about the 13 spot with 4.8 yards per play allowed. Chicago is about 8 spots below them at 5.3. So again, the Packers are playing better football right now than the Chicago Bears are. Does that mean they're going to win on Sunday? No, it doesn't. But just to kind of put things into perspective and look at every angle here, how do these two teams match up? Ben Johnson, I think his mouth might have wrote a check that his ass can't cash, to be honest with you. I'm excited about this game. Again, Green Bay's got to show up, and the thing that the Chicago Bears do well is they take the ball away. I'm excited to see if this Green Bay Packer team can continue to protect the football, and let's see if Caleb Williams can protect the football as well. Let's see if we can slow down their running. Everybody last week said no way the Packers going to slow down Detroit's running game. You kidding me? Look at Detroit. Detroit ran all over the Giants. Well, it was the Giants, right? So the Chicago Bears' running offense, their rushing offense, has been pretty solid here lately, right? Let's look at how the teams rank overall according to PFF. They have the Green Bay Packers grading out as the 4th best team. The team that we just beat on Thursday is the 3rd highest graded team in the Detroit Lions. Now, you guys know I've been very vocal. I think that Dan Campbell has lost some games this year being too aggressive on 4th down, right? So the fact that we beat the number 3 team just shows how well they've been playing at a 92.6. The Packers are sitting at 88.6. Where's the Chicago Bears? Chicago Bears are in the 15 spot at 77.2 is their grade. All right. Now, what is it they're doing well? Running the football. If you sort by run grade, the Chicago Bears have the 4th highest run grade, all right, amongst PFF at an 88.0. So that's how they shake out right now. Detroit's run grade in terms of PFF score was ranked 9th. So the Chicago Bears are running the football better according to PFF. However, if we cross-check this and we jump over to rushing offense and yards per rush attempt, let's see how Chicago's actually doing. They are 5th in the league on the season. However, over the last 3 games, they're sitting in the roughly 7 or 8 spot. All right. So what's their running game going to go up against? Our rushing defense, yards per rush attempt allowed. The Green Bay Packers are tied for 5th best on the season in yards per carry allowed. And over the last 3, they are sitting at about the 10 or the 12 mark right now at 4 yards per carry allowed. So again, it's going to come down to how can the Packers stop this running attack of the Chicago Bears, right? And again, what is Ben Johnson going to do to scheme around the fact that Caleb Williams has struggled throwing the football? Elite scrambler, got a cannon for an arm, right? I literally watched a show just a second ago where they were raving over Caleb Williams and that touchdown pass he threw to Colston Loveland. It was an absolute dime. He dropped it in the bucket, a perfect throw. Boys, do we need to pull up the stats from that game? You literally showed one play from that game and didn't dive into anything else he did as a quarterback. I love the fact that they're overhyping him. Keep overhyping him. And the reality is that the Packers lose to the Bears on Sunday, it doesn't mean it's the end of the season for the Packers. We play them again in 2 more weeks, but I'm going to tell you this. It's going to tell me a lot about this Green Bay Packers team, whether or not they have Matt LaFleur's back. Because again, all year long, anytime something goes wrong, he takes the blame. He falls on the sword, right? And then you've got Ben Johnson calling him out in the media. I'm excited to see what this Green Bay Packers team does when Chicago comes to town this Sunday. Again, that's a 3:25 Central kickoff for that ball game. I want to know what you all think in the comments. Let me know, watching this video back, how you feel about the Packers and the Bears matchup this weekend. Do you think, and here's the other thing we didn't even talk about in terms of scoring defense, right? We kind of hit on it a little bit. Let's go to passing defense and scoring defense. Opponent points per play allowed. We kind of talked about it a little bit there with Chicago, where they're ranking on the year. They're sitting in the 27th spot, right? Passing defense, as it sits right now, opponent yards per pass attempt allowed. Green Bay is 4th best in the league. So Caleb should struggle to throw the football. You need to key in on stopping the run first and foremost. But Chicago's pass defense on the year, guys, 27th at a 7.2. 7.2 yards per pass attempt allowed. Let Jordan Love cook. Let's go out there and wing that thing around a yard. This is the big question, right? Solder, is Jaden Reed going to be back? I hope so. I feel like this is what they were extra cautious in bringing him back on Thanksgiving. I think they honestly looked up at that Thanksgiving game and said, you know what? I think we're okay. I like the way we match up against Detroit. And they were right. So what if they were holding him out to get him back for the Chicago matchup? It's going to be, I'm telling you, it's going to be must-see TV. I think they're two really good football teams. You've got one that's scrappy and takes the ball away, and they're figuring out how to win games they shouldn't be winning. And the other one, you've got a team that's maybe lost a couple games they should have won, but albeit by 3 points. So I think you're going to get a clash here. NFC North, that crowd is going to be hopping. It's going to be rowdy. Let's go out there and get the damn job done. That's what it comes down to. So really, really excited. Let's see what everybody's saying in the chat. Older Than Dirt said the Packers will bring the Bears back down to earth. I see a 35-10 win. I know this. The goal is always just to win the game, right? But boy, oh boy, if there was ever a game where you go, you know what? Let's throw the damn pedal down let's put the pedal to the metal and not look back, and let's try to boat race these fools. Let's don't just try to win. Let's go out there and just demolish them in every single aspect of the game. This is the tone I would be setting for the team. And again, it's got to be set from within. It can't be set by Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur can't go up there and say, look at what Ben Johnson said. But that team needs to step up and go, look what Ben Johnson said about our head coach, about our leader. Let's go out there and stick up for him. So I'm excited about it, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. The rivalry is on. It's right. Respect Orange's rivalry is on. Our wide receivers better catch the ball because J Love is going to cook. There's not a quarterback in the league that's hotter than Jordan Love right now. Before Monday Night Football, it looks like he's going to be the front runner to win the Offensive Player of the Week for the second time this year. The second time. That's really, really exciting stuff there. So again, man, this is and I hope they do, Doug. It says the press will ask Matt LaFleur about it, and he'll just brush it off to the side. I want to hear one of our players in the locker room say something. Is what I want to hear. I want to hear Micah Parsons or Rashawn Gary or any, give me an Edgerrin Cooper, Xavier McKinney would be perfect. Like, yeah, we took note of what Ben Johnson said about our coach. Yeah, we got that. We got that logged away. Just go out there and smoke that head. So let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. Think the Packers got a good shot to win this ball game? How do you feel about the Ben Johnson comments? How do you feel about Matt LaFleur matching up against him? Because I'll tell you this, with how bad their defense is playing in terms of all the analytics other than the takeaways, if we protect the football, that's how Philly screwed the pooch, right? They lost the turnover battle 2-1. They win that turnover battle, and the middle eight stays tied. If they don't lose the ball on that tush push, they were finally starting to get stuff going. I think that game ends differently too. And how about we go out there and take the ball away from Chicago 2 or 3 times? It's going to be cold. It's going to be chilly at Lambeau Field. We'll see what the forecast is. We'll dive into that as we get a little later in the week. But it's going to be a fun matchup for sure. This is what I'm talking about too, Solder. Solder says, I just want to see Parsons run Williams down in the backfield 6 or 7 times. Parsons ran a 4.3 40. Caleb Williams is not going to be able to sprint run away from Micah Parsons. Now, should the whole game plan be about bringing down Caleb Williams? No, I'm telling you, that's the part where you got to play with intensity when you're one-on-one matchups, knowing what Ben Johnson said. However, stick to the game plan. Cage rush and stop their run. Make Caleb Williams beat you as a quarterback, because I'm telling you guys, he was off the mark all day long against Philly. They just gifted that game to Chicago. So if you do that, if you go out and you stop their run first and foremost, and you rush, you stick with Caleb with a cage rush, I want to see Micah in passing situations playing Joker 1, where Caleb has got to know where he's at. Cage rush around him. Don't allow him to get outside of the pocket. For God's sakes, attack his outside half. Make him step up in the pocket and run up the middle. Don't let him do that little jab step in, roll out, and all of a sudden you're attacking the inside half. No, play the outside half. That's got to be the game plan for Caleb Williams. Because I'm telling you, if you take Caleb Williams' ability to scramble away, he is not a starting quarterback in the National Football League. There's nobody who could show me any statistic. I welcome it. Anybody who's hearing my voice, show me anything that backs up Caleb Williams being a solid NFL quarterback if he's not allowed to scramble. You won't find it. So he is what he is. He's a running quarterback. Let's make him throw from within the pocket. Let's make him pass from within the well. Watch him hit our defensive lineman in the face 6 or 7 times in one game if you're making him throw from within the well. Because those cute little arm angles and everything he's got, it's funny how when people keep him in the pocket, he's smacking defensive linemen in the face with the football. And again, very, very inaccurate from having to throw from within the well. If you let him get on the edge, it's a whole different story. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. We will see you guys later on this evening for PTA Live, most likely at 6 p.m. Central, if everything goes as planned. The evening's been a little bit screwed up here, but please make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
There we go.
Bye, guys.